Courtrooms up and down California slowed down when COVID hit 3 years ago. Cases backed up and people had to wait longer to get their day in court.
But nowhere in California were cases dismissed outright, with the accused facing zero consequences, except here in Riverside County.
News Channel 3's Angela Chen investigated, finding that a majority of these dismissed cases in Riverside County were from here in the Coachella Valley.
When Sarah met him, she tumbled into what felt like a dream.
He made me feel like he was always going to protect me, always going to be there.
The isolation of COVID-19 created a bubble. For nearly 2 years, the world shrunk down to just the two of them. She was in love. But then things opened up, and he started coming home drunk. Sarah says he began hitting her, kicking her, dragging her by the hair into the house.
There was just always some way that it was turned against me. And I began to believe that everything was my fault. And why would I even seek help? Because I caused this, right? That's what I began to believe over and over and over again, even though I had bruises all over my body.
And then one night, it came to a breaking point.
He had thrown a glass bottle at my face. And when I looked at him, I didn't recognize him anymore. His eyes were so black, it was not the person I had been with.
It was enough to finally give Sarah the courage she needed to leave. For months, Sarah watched her case go through the Riverside County court system. She was a shell of who she was before, but hopeful there would be consequences. Then, this past October, her heart shattered again.
I was such in shock, I couldn't even move.
Her case had suddenly been dismissed. When COVID struck, the courts partially closed, but police did not stop arresting for crimes, and so cases backed up. A chronic judge shortage and lack of open courtrooms worsened the backlog. In October of 2022, judges of Riverside Superior Court began mass dismissals of criminal cases, with the accused never facing any sort of consequence. Of the 1,769 cases dismissed here in Riverside County, nearly 70% were from the Larson Justice Center in Indio. By the numbers, that means you are less likely to get justice for a crime committed here in the Coachella Valley. So why is that? Why is it that the Coachella Valley makes up 15% of Riverside County's population, but accounts for nearly 70% of the cases dismissed?
It's the mindset, the attitude of the bench, specifically that works in the Larson Justice Center, that is more willing to dismiss cases than some of their colleagues across the rest of the county.
The Riverside Superior Court refused to give us an interview, but did email a response about Coachella Valley's unusually high dismissals, in part claiming the high proportion of out-of-custody misdemeanors in the desert area, quote, have the lowest priority under the law for courtroom assignments. The court also said Riverside County has not had enough judges for decades to keep up with the growing population. They blame the state, saying the county is 22 judge position allocations short. And though all counties across California had backlog issues, dismissals only happened here in Riverside County. On October 7th of last year, Riverside Superior Court judges said that Sixth Amendment speedy trial rights now applied. A speedy trial requires legal time limits for completing various stages of a case. The presiding judge at the time wrote that a judge shortage was not a good cause to extend a criminal case beyond the statutory deadline, which means defendants who had their trial delayed because of COVID got their cases dismissed.
The judges unnecessarily and carelessly began a policy of mass dismissals, and it's led to people not finding justice.
As of March 2023, nearly 1,800 cases have been dismissed in Riverside County. These include felony cases of attempted murder and child sex assault, along with misdemeanors like DUI, domestic violence, like they never happened.
We have to be very clear with the public. Those misdemeanors are gone. They cannot be refiled. There would have to be a change in the law, in the Constitution, perhaps, an amendment to the Constitution. I think these cases are gone forever, the misdemeanors.
The judges also lay part of the blame with the DA's office, saying the court system depends on most cases settling prior to the trial, and that when the actions of the district attorney and defense, quote, do not function to maintain the necessary level of case resolution pre-trial, no court will be able to manage the total number of trials before it. But Hestron says defendants now know about the dismissals and are willing to take their chances by not settling.
I call it the dismissal lottery. So defendants come into the system now, they hear, hey, the courts are doling out dismissals, high number of cases, I'm going to take my chances. I don't want to plead guilty, even though maybe I know I did it.
These dismissals could keep happening because Riverside County is still backed up with hundreds of cases. For Sarah, the most horrifying part of this is that her protective order disappeared when her case was dismissed.
Devastating, emotionally and mentally, because nothing changed other than there wasn't enough courtrooms or judges.
We've had scenes in our courtrooms where domestic violence victims are pleading with the judge saying, you know, that protective order, I believe, is the only thing protecting me. Please don't dismiss it. And the judge is basically saying there's nothing we can do, our hands are tied. And I just don't think that's true.
Riverside Superior Court says it's doing what it can, like mandatory settlement programs, using retired judges, and redesignating some departments to hear criminal trials. But for many, it's too little, too late.
I don't believe in the justice system right now because it's so broken that this person could do this and then nothing happened.
In Indio, Angela Chen, News Channel 3.
There is now a new presiding judge, Judith Clark, and the DA's office says under her leadership, they are already seeing more proactive initiative from the courts to address the backlog.